is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Hi, Boadu TV. So, now Dr Sansa Daly, okay, no. Ababa wane ye ka say or ye fake doctor. Okate chief of men say expose no na Mahama e no to board so a after expose no Mahama yi ni face no okate chief gra say or ye Kevin Taylor girlfriend no. Adom Otchere so som ai wo som say sa baba wane say man ye jana sa e wo say Posifo no ne prosecute no sense we twa man no tro e twa man panyin tro ai tiamra Adom Otchere asama wo kan no na wo say no nwa se Bobie Ansah no nyina se NDC party no ai on betra se a on ba power ye fe ne sen esi bom ho office pe na se bi o jimia sorry asamu ebi fuse ni se monya bokyere bibia be kama John Dramani Mahama de wanya be otutu no mani wi a obia position e wo se ne saka no odobia be hyekona do bia so nya ne chefa bra wo bre nyina no wo wetimi didi kakra no ntia do bia bre Adom Otchere say wo position dia obekọ de ma party no se say apia stadium na mom party no ba power wo qualification wo CV ena hu behia eti uni qualification bia de a wakon wie na wabre no watrans din o maba beto aso no medite dia mawo yetie Adom Otchere.
This criminal here, this criminal fraudster running away criminal with her Mr. Sansa Daly, whatever they are, this criminal here found her way onto the National Health Insurance Authority board. This is the same board that Bagbin was going to chair. She's very lucky that she didn't get there to go and meet Bagbin as chairman. But this is the problem. This lady here is a professionally qualified medical doctor, practiced abroad, trained abroad, practiced abroad, part of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council in Ghana, delivered a seat for the NDC in the Sikado Keten that the NDC has never won. And I mean never, since 1996. Exclude 1992 because 1992, the MPP didn't contest. In 1996, since 96 till now, the seat has never been won. She contested in 2020, she came close, and in 2024, she delivered it for the NDC. Dr. Grace Ayensu is the subject of this conversation. Grace Ayensu here is a proper medically qualified doctor. But somehow, this fraudster and criminal Sansa Daly, who the police are still refusing to arrest, I understand that the CID are very close, to arrest this fraudster. They put this fraudster there because this Mr. Sansa Daly with an SS2 qualification, living SS as SS2, in his SS2 brain, says that he is advising government and they should put this fraudster on the National Health Insurance. I'm very sad about it because look at the green paper. If you look at the green paper which they'll put on right now, the green paper here says that in 12.1, and maybe you can't see it, maybe you can give them this camera, they'll see it properly. You will see that it says 2 health professionals with expertise in insurance, criminal Sansa Daly and Dr. Zanetta Rawlings. Now, how come that Grace Ayensu, who is still a member of parliament, who has not been made a minister, people think she'll be deputy minister of health, but that hasn't happened yet. How come that Grace Ayensu was not considered, but this criminal was considered, this fraudster, criminal Sansa Daly was considered for a position like that, and Grace Ayensu wasn't considered? Maybe Grace Ayensu is going to get something else, I don't know. But it tells us a lot about the things that happen in this system. And I'm dovetailing this into going to have a conversation about something that the difference between government and opposition and how people should react. So the NHIL, National Health Insurance Authority document has a space for professionals with expertise in health insurance. Dr. Zanetta Rawlings was picked, and Dr. Sansa Daly was picked as well. The criminal, fraudster, criminal, blackmailer. She's just a criminal. This SS2 boy, who didn't continue because his grade point average was bad, not that he can pay for it, he can pay for it. And since then, he has not taken the opportunity after becoming an adult to read anything and get some brain in his head. And he just comes on TV to insult people. This criminal here, Mr. Sansa Daly, He, it was, who claimed and bragged that he's the reason why they put Sansa Daly there, this fraudster, to do business. Let's have the photograph of Grace Ayensu and the fraudster again. I think that we should be looking at these things, and it's not partisan, it's not NDC or MPP. Grace Ayensu is a member of the NDC, but you can't take away the fact that she's a great doctor. Not great because she has operated on me before, great because of her pedigree. You can check her pedigree, you see it. And she is NDC. She's actually in green. She's NDC. But if we do the politics in a way that you have fraudsters like this criminal man sitting in America says that he's a SS2 guy and that he's advising government, then they'll produce this fraudster here, and after weeks of the process, the police have still not apprehended her. In between the time her story broke and today, the police have actually apprehended somebody who was faking as a doctor in Kaswa. We showed you the story. Until the police arrest her, we would always remind people that this is what is happening. That this fraudster criminal here says that she's a doctor. She's not a nurse. She's nothing near medicine. Fakes as a doctor, and they put her on National Health Insurance Authority. Grace Ayensu is in Parliament, has delivered a seat for the NDC that the NDC has never won since 1996. They've never won it. And she delivers the seat. She's in Parliament. She's a doctor who practices at Airport Women's Hospital. People go there, they know her. She's practiced in America. I think her daughter is even a doctor as well. With such pedigree, they don't consider her because this fraudster here comes to lie to them, and they didn't know at the time this fraudster was lying to them that he has only a very minimal and completely embarrassing educational background, refused to learn as many people do. Some have never even been to school. They've learned since they were age 30, and that's why the University of Ghana has adult studies. University of Kwame Nkrumah University also has it. People don't ever get the opportunity to go to school. People's school fees are not paid. Their father cannot pay, so they learn themselves. This fraudster here decides that that's not the way to go. Just blackmail people with this criminal, and they find themselves on National Health Insurance. I'm delighted that the democratic system and the media system and the social media in Ghana was able to draw attention to the government. And I'm extremely excited that this is one of the quickest things that any government in the Fourth Republic did. The Callistus Mahama issued a letter withdrawing the appointment of this fake and criminal Sansa Daly, who should be in prison by now, go to court and let people hoot at her in the court. When they are bringing her to court, they should hoot at her because she's a criminal. And the day she comes to court, we'll see all the other things that they do, fraud, blackmail, and everything. The other day, Samson Ladi Ayinini called for her prosecution. I show you.
People are carrying fake PhDs around. Why? The state must take this beyond revoking her appointment.
The state must prosecute her because she's a criminal. And next time he gets into Ghana, he must be arrested and sent to the court to deal with his contempt issues. He also is a criminal. That's who they are. Fraudsters, criminals, liars. That's who they are. Now, I want to say something about the difference between being in opposition and being in government. And I'm just saying this to young people who are working with political parties. You have to understand something. That when you are in opposition, anything is fair game. You can say anything and you get away with it. It's fine. When you're in opposition, the presidential candidate, the leader, can give anybody an appointment and he doesn't need to show CV. He can give anybody an appointment, doesn't need to show CV. He doesn't need to show any CV. He can give anybody an appointment. So if you watch this flyer behind me here, this was last year. John Dramani Mahama, presidential candidate as he then was, of the National Democratic Congress, was leading a Women's Day, Women Empowerment, Empowering Women for the Future, the theme. Very, very good conference. And here you see it. This is John Dramani Mahama, the president. This is Joyce Bauer, one of my very good friends, but we are fighting right now. But she was a good friend of mine. I hope we'll be good friends again, or we'll fight again and be good friends again and fight again. This is Sansa Daly. And look at what they write there. Dr. Sansa Daly. This was the NDC in opposition. In opposition, nobody is going to check CV. No, we don't. Nobody checks CV. Nobody cares. But once you get to government, then the CV becomes important. The criminal fraudster here represented herself as a doctor. And everybody accepted it. Look at the caliber of people on the flyer. Look at the caliber. Jenna no Pokwa Jaman, then running mate. Mrs. Kuma Odro is a certified counselor. This is our friend Prophet Odro, who miscalculated the e-levy and said that he had paid some humongous e-levy, and social media came after him. And he likes to say, yeah, And he couldn't hear the... But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. This is the Venerable Charlotte Osei with much distinction. We all know that. And this is Joyce Bauer, a qualified lawyer. And this is President John Dramani Mahama. On this platform, had this thief called Sansa Daly, thief, criminal, told everyone here, convinced everyone here that she's a doctor. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because it's opposition. That's how it is. She's such a thief that she smuggled her way into... I don't remember. I don't even know what she said. I didn't look at the conference. I'm wondering what she said. Because she has nothing to speak like a doctor. As soon as she speaks, you know that she's not a doctor. She's a fraudster, criminal that the police should be finding. They have still not found. She managed to find herself in this conference. Fair enough. Why was she able to do that? She was able to do that because of position. Okay, so she convinced everyone here that she's a doctor. Now power comes. And then her criminal, Mr. Sansa Daly, says that, hey, give me post. I have only SS2, so I can't get post. So give my post to the doctor. And the post is given to the doctor. But in government, you have to show the CV. When President Mahama appointed Mr. Tamaklo Eduji as the director of legal for the party, he didn't need to give anybody any CV. He just appointed him. But when he appointed him as the chief executive of the National Petroleum Authority, right there is a CV. Why is it so? Because the political party that forms the government, they actually take over the state. And the state has rules and regulations that nobody can change. So the state has rules and regulations that say, for instance, that if you want to nominate somebody for the Supreme Court, that person ought to have completed 15 years at the bar. If I am the best friend of the president loves me to bits, and he wins the election, and I have done 11 years at the bar, the president will not be able to nominate me for the Supreme Court. If he does that, Parliament will pull the nomination back. That's how government is. So that's for appointments and all of that. Let me have the photographs of the communicators, Chamima and Co. And I want to say something about that. That's for the appointment. You have to demonstrate your CV. And when the CV comes in, you see people are running helter-skelter all over the place these days. Tomorrow they say somebody is not a doctor. Tomorrow they say this. Then they change the appointment. This and that. Because they are in government. All these people play those roles in opposition. But in government, you can't do that. In government, the government takes over the state has its rules. Here is Felix Kwachio Fosu and Shamima Muslim. Now, when it gets to government, and I'm talking about journalists, when a government is in place, and you are a media person that supported the government in opposition, and therefore you don't support the government in government, which is fair, there's no problem with that. You have to recognize that in supporting a government, you need to generate a narrative. You need brain. It's not as simple. In opposition, you just shout. So you come and then you are biting and say, hey, MPP government, reduce the petrol price. Akufo-Addo said they should carry chair for him. Look at 58 million cathedral hole. And then you go and swim in the hole. You can say that. And the people in opposition, they will like it. They will like you for that. As soon as they transition into government, you now need to develop a theory. When you cannot develop the theory because you don't have the capacity, the simple capacity to do it, you come and say about nurses that they don't have WASI. That is your way of explaining. That's your way of speaking for the government. But the government doesn't like that because you are making them look bad. Because you cannot think and you cannot create anything because you don't have the capacity. When the government is in government, you are useless to them. And people are beginning to find out. That's why you're seeing on social media. We won the election, and now they are talking to other people. No. You can bite. But if you cannot think, and you cannot create a theory, you cannot do the thesis, the synthesis, the antithesis in government, you are finished. Because you are going to be worrying Shamima. When you call them, they will not pick. Because your head is empty. What are you coming to tell them? Nurses are on strike. Government says nurses want $1 billion. And they get 2 billion and they cannot do it. If you are a government person, you have to generate a narrative. Well, come on your touch screen. Nurses say they want 2 billion. If that 2 billion is given to them, this is what's going to happen to the economy. Show your graphs, marginal utility, demand and supply. This is what's going to happen to the economy. Can we appeal to the nurses that they shouldn't do that? Because if you take 2 billion out, this is what is going to happen. Maybe they will not be able to do capex. If you do that, nobody will get angry with you. People might not agree with you. but they will know that you have developed a theory. It will happen like that. But if you don't have the capacity to develop a theory, you can't do the synthesis, you can't do the antithesis, then you will just come and say that, oh, nurses don't have WASI. They didn't pass WASI. And then the government doesn't want you because you are creating problem for them. Why are you creating problem for them? Because you cannot think. You can't think. You don't have thinking capacity. You don't have the tools to think. You think it is just about shouting. Shouting is easy. Go and tell Akufo-Addo to come and bring the 58 million. That's easy. That's easy. Everybody can say it. I can say it. Everyone can say it. So, Shamima, I'm going to give you a scenario of a conversation. That Shamima goes to Felix Kwachiofosu's office. And then they are sitting there and says, Felix, we should organize a press conference for the old man. And Felix says, you think so? I say, yeah. He said, what will people think? What are we? How? That's the conversations they have. I'm playing a scenario, but that's what happens. And then Shamima will say, okay, let's call some people, media people, and ask them. When they think about calling media people to ask them, they are not thinking about NDC media alone, no. They are thinking about media people who can think. So you biting over there with your empty head, they are not going to call you. And when you call them, Shamima will say, who is calling? He say, bite. We say, oh, you put the phone down, let's talk to other people. They will call somebody, they will call Kwesi Pratt for sure. They will call somebody who, get me the photograph of Blessed Soga of Joy FM, if you can. And then also, we've used it before. And then also the TV3 guy, Okansi. Get me those two photographs. I want to make an illustration with it. So Shamima will get a phone call, and it's bite, and he'll say, oh, Charlie, put this guy, he's going to give us problems. He's going to talk about nurses don't have WASI for what? Oh, what? Charlie, throw him out. And they won't pick your call, and you get frustrated. Shamima, them are going to decide that, let us call Paul Adom Otchere for what it's worth, or Kofi Mensah for what it's worth. They know that he's not with them. So they'll call, they say, put it on speaker. They'll put you on speaker. Hey, it's Kofi Neti saying, this is Shamima's voice. They say, hey, madam, none of them are dying. I don't know, give me, I'll come to that. Give me the other, keep it, I'll call for it. Give me the other one. So back to the Shamima conversation. There's an idea because dying, our friend. They say, oh, Charlie, how are you? They say, Kofi, listen, Charlie, how are you doing your 38%? Are you managing it? They will tease each other small. So, okay. They say, Charlie, want to do a press conference for the old man. What do you think? He says, what are people going to say? He said, well, it's been 6 months. He hasn't done a press conference. So we are just thinking that he should do. What do you think? I said, what are going to be the issues? So he said, why don't you wait for the media review? This is Kofi, who is not NDC, who they respect his brain. This is what he's telling them. That, why don't you wait for the media review budget? And after that, you can do the press conference. Because from what I'm seeing on the social media, the media review budget, you guys have something to say. I see that the Fitch has done an upgrading and a few things. The dollar is still stable. So maybe you should wait for that and do it. This is a genuine person who is not NDC. But because the two people respect his brain, they are going to call him. They'll put the phone down and say, okay, let's call Kweku Baako. So they'll call, Bombay, are you there? They say, you NDC people, what is happening? They say, oh, Bombay, we are doing well. This one there, you can't say we are not doing well. Look at the dollar. We are doing well. Your Akufo-Addo, was he able to do that? Then they will laugh. They'll say, Bombay, you want to do a press conference for the old man. What do you think? He say, when? So around this time. They'll say, what are you going to say? We've said everything already. What are you going to say? So, well, we think that we should do a press conference for him. Then he might also say, do you have anything really to say? Then they'll ask him that, or you think we should finish the media review? They will say, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe you can finish the media review. That's how they make their decisions. They are not making decisions with some empty head who is going to insult nurses and create problem for them. No, they are making their decisions with intelligent people, whether they are in NDC or they are in MPP, they are blue or they are red, because media is a fraternity. Media is a fraternity. So that's what happens. So when you are sitting down there, you are talking bite and your head is empty, when the party is in government as it is, you will be frustrated. Because you can't think, you can't create a theory, you can't create a thesis. You just come and you see, let people know that it doesn't matter about who passed WASI or who didn't pass WASI. It doesn't matter. When you are speaking on television and you are inarticulate, people can tell. And you are struggling to think, people can tell. When your brain capacity is not 16 karat, people can tell. They may not be NDC or MPP, they may not agree with what you are saying in terms of politics, but they can tell that this guy is smart. They can tell. I've never met Blessed Sogan before of Joy FM. When I watched his introduction to a Joy FM news and current affairs program, now give me Blessed Soga, I came to the studio, I said, wow, this guy is solid. This guy, he's solid. I said it before. Maybe some of you watching today didn't see it, but I said it before. I just heard the introduction. It's just that I didn't watch the whole program. He just said, this is Blessed Soga, welcome to something. He talked. You see, the way he picked the thing, I knew that the guy is solid. Look at Okansi at TV3. When you listen to Okansi, in a Saturday morning, I was watching him moderating the, I call it pre-news file. They have I think it's key points. That's what they call it. I saw him monitoring key points. And I was excited. Actually, this guy is solid. You see, some people are solid. They don't make noise. Those with their empty head come and talk about their great point. You won't talk about great point. People are talking about great point from Warwick, you know. You are talking about great points from... Oh, please. Let's get serious. This guy is solid. Okanse is solid. And I'm excited that we have journalists who are solid. So it's important that we let people know. Young people right now who are following Kennedy Japan, you are following Mahamadou Bawumia, you are following Kwabene Japan. Beware that the day they become president is no longer about your shouting. It's about your ability to think and your genuine CV, not fake doctor, fake this, fake. If you do that, they love you. Yes, because you work for them on the campaign. But in government, they have to submit the CV to somebody. And the check will come back, and Callistus Mahama will write that the appointment revoked. And it will pain the president because he likes you. But now he has become owner of the state. And he has to apply the principles laid out by the state. And that includes CV. So you will be found wanting. And then the president will beg you and say, Charlie, you did, I beg you, you know, this and that and that. You see my friend Apia Stadium, very good friend of mine. Apia came and did a video and said, oh, they odebe mami bia, school, but they odebe mami bia, meje. President Mahama loves Apia Stadium. I'm sure that if Apia Stadium had qualification, he would have been at National Security as the deputy director. But in the circumstances that myself and Kwame Apia find ourselves, we cannot be deputy national security. We just have to contain and maintain our loyalty to John Dramani Mahama and hope that our children, and I like Apia Stadium for that, he's very genuine about that. He's very honest about that. And he's hoping that John Dramani Mahama and the NDC will stay in power long, and then his children who are going to SSS will climb up to university, they'll become a lawyer. And one day, when the NDC is still in power, and John Mahama is a godfather, he will go to John Mahama and say, this is my daughter. And John Mahama will say, Apia's daughter, make her deputy attorney general because she has been called to the bar. That's how it works. It's not empty talk. It's not empty head. As for opposition, we can all shout. But the day you come to government, you have to show your CV and you have to show your capacity. Very senior editors contributing to political shows. But you held the fort. You held your own. You suffered for it. You became a member of parliament. And today here you are dealing with the Hajj. Congratulations, ABF Husseini, the man of Proverbs. When are you coming to parliament again?
Paul, everything has an expiry date, even including the human being and the titles and the positions you occupy.
Yeah.
So the very day you enter into some office, you must begin to count your days and know that there will come a time when you no longer occupy that position. I have served the good people of Sanago for 12 good years.
Oh, it was 12 years, 3 times.
Yes. And so I can say without any out of hesitation that the record that I've left in the Sanago constituency, Paul, is unmatched. The biggest credit for me, the biggest aspiration that I've ever harbored is to contribute to elevating and making life better for people that I serve with diligence, humility, and the sacrifices that go with it. So, Paul, I can say without any out of that, that the record of accomplishment in the Sadaro constituency in terms of development, electricity, roads, water, schools, counted so many. I live with a very high sense.
You have a good record. President Mahama is not running for president.
I know that,
are you going to run for president in NDC?
Under the aegis of the NDC and President Mahama, the record is solid.
Are you going to run for president?
Paul, no matter how tall you are, you can always see tomorrow. So nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. Okay. I am not standing here and by any stretch of logic saying that I will run for president. No, I cannot. As I sit here, when you are still wrestling with Peter, you don't add Paul to the fight. So I want to say without any idea of that the NDC is a party that gives everybody the opportunity for your true value to manifest. And I have no doubt in my that in the trueness of time, when everything is up to its zenith and the call comes on you from the people, why not? But as we speak now, no, there's no such ambition as I speak.
Let's talk about the Hajj, for which reason I spoke to you and Alhaji Collins.
And Paul, I just wanted to crave your indulgence because you mentioned Bobie and others. I can understand
yes.
The thing you said. These are some fits of frustration you can feel from people who have genuinely committed themselves to working very hard. In fact, some have put their lives on the line for the party. And they truly believe that having made that high level of sacrifice, they deserve to be recognized and given certain positions. I have no doubt in my mind that President John Dramani Mahama, who is not just an icon of our party, but for this country, is a very well-meaning and very strategic president. As and when I believe that people are truly primed for certain positions, President Mahama is not a president who overlook their talents and contribution to the NDC. I have had
eventually calls. They will be.
Paul, I have had similar calls about people saying, what are they
doing with you? We always ask them, what are they doing with you?
Wait, in the trueness of time, His Excellency President Mahama would make, and the party and the NDC party would make use of whatever available talent there. Paul, you know, you are a football fan.
Yes.
A coach knows when to bring in people and when to substitute. And I will be the last person sitting here to say, President Mahama is perfect. As a human being, he's not perfect. But I'm saying that to the best of his ability and to the human infallibility that is in him, he will do the best for members of the party. So, in as much as I sympathize with a lot of our rank and file who have genuinely worked so hard for this party to come to power, some of them have borne even scars that they suffered in the course of working for the party. And so, I just can plead with them that they should exercise some patience. They should temper maybe their frustrations and language. Paul, when you are hungry, you don't jump into the cooking pot.
Because it will burn you.
Exactly. So you temper your time and wait for the food to be prepared. And the trueness of time, like I said, I want to believe that the party will duly recognize and reward them for whatever sacrifices they make.